Good evening, everybody. This is Darius Assemi, your host at GVY Unfiltered. Um, we have welcome, by the way, and welcome my co-host, Mr. Bill McEwen. Good evening, Bill. Um, we have another great show for you as we're winding down the year. Um, we have pre-recorded segment by Phil Lempert, interview we did yesterday. He's the supermarket guru. He's going to tell you which stores, which items to be careful about, how to shop. What are some of the shopping tips to make sure you're not getting overcharged? The article that we had a few days ago, I think it was last week, on the price changes sometimes between the shelf and when you check out. So there's a great segment that will be coming up here shortly. And then we have Catherine Shahada of the organization If Americans Knew. Some of you are very familiar with that organization. Allison Weir, who has been on this show and who has been to Fresno several times and spoken at college campuses and also at different churches. Catherine works with Allison Weir. Davina Witcher, Executive Director of Amore. I think there's a pre-recorded session with her. And Naomi Popoff, who was actually HR manager for Granville Homes. They had a giveaway or a home. What are we calling it, Naomi? Home
Adopt a Family.
Adopt a Family. Thank you. Adopt a Family by Amore in Mendota. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Cool. And that's going to be coming up here shortly. But a few things we're going to cover, and then we'll dive right in. So let's go back to the weather. We got some rain coming this weekend. It was supposed to be Friday, then it's Saturday, now it's Sunday. So this kind of storm is dissipating, but I understand from our meteorologist, Bill McEwen and Rod Pate, that we have a atmospheric river lurking out there that may be headed our way here and then over the next couple of weeks. President Trump, let's put that poll up. It's a long poll. There we go. There it is. President Trump signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act into law in November of this year, which requires the Department of Justice to publicly release its files on Jeffrey Epstein by a deadline of December 19th. Will that happen? The majority of folks, overwhelming majority, said, we don't think so. Bill, any thoughts on that? Anything happening? Or there's a lot of distractions in the news. Is it to take away from this, or is the Epstein file release dead, do you think?
So, I mean, I think there's still interest in this. Stories that we're running get readership interest on GV Wire. It's going to go down to Friday. Certainly the person that's been in the spotlight on this is Attorney General Bondi. And there's a lot of thinking out there that, this thing's going to be so redacted that it's not going to be of much value. Meanwhile, we have the House and Speaker Johnson and, for the House to release the files that they have. So I think right now we're kind of in that quiet time sometimes you get before a big storm. And there will be a big storm on this again.
Thank you, Bill, for that. This thing is a story that's not going away. A lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats want the Epstein files. Who were the people, especially the famous people that were involved, let me just say at least, involved in underage sexual activity? Bill, did you have another comment on that?
Yeah, so one thing I forgot to say was that the House, Republican-controlled House, they're trying to shift the spotlight about the Epstein files onto Bill and Hillary Clinton. They've requested that they testify before Congress. The lawyers for the Clintons say they have no real duty to. The House has responded by saying, we're going to hold you in contempt then. The last time a former president testified before Congress was President Yeah, President Carter.
Okay.
And President Gerald Ford. No, it was Carter, and he was there to talk about, the big celebration coming about America's birthday. So, it wasn't anything like this at all. So, last time a president testified was in 1983 in Congress.
Thank you,
And
Bill.
anyone that cares to, that story's on GV Wire. They can read it and see what's going on with the pressure on the Clintons.
Great. Thank you, Bill. Now we get to our Adopt a Family 2025 Amor. We have a brief video and comments by Naomi Popoff. Let's play that video. There we go.
Good afternoon, Unfiltered audience. My name is Davina Witcher, Executive Director for the Amor Foundation, and it is a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. The holidays are a busy time at the Amor Wellness Center in Mendota, along with the daily services like distributing food, diapers, and hygiene products, and helping families enroll in public benefits. The Amor team makes a special effort to ensure children and families in Mendota and the surrounding towns of Cantua Creek, Tranquility, San Joaquin, and Firebaugh have the extra resources they need to experience the joy of the holiday season. All of the community support is made possible through collaboration with nonprofit, county agencies, and corporate donors for maximum impact. December kicks off with a toy drive hosted by the Hot Rod Coalition in Old Town Clovis, followed by a toy wrapping party with volunteers coming to the Amor Wellness Center to wrap the hundreds of toys that have been donated. The wrapping party is always a lot of fun, and everyone is truly in the spirit of giving by the time that it is finished. A portion of the toys are then distributed to Head Start programs in Firebaugh and Mendota, as well as the elementary school in Cantua Creek. Later that week, Central California Food Bank delivers 100 holiday meal bags that have additional frozen chicken. That afternoon, families gather at the Amor Wellness Center for Regalas con Amor, a festive event where 100 families receive age-appropriate toys for their children, along with a holiday meal bag. Fresh hot chocolate, cookies, and photos with Mrs. Claus round out an afternoon filled with smiles, laughter, and a lot of joy. The Amor Adopt a Family program began in 2018 and takes place during the week before Christmas, touching the hearts of donors and families alike. The program brings together companies that work throughout Fresno County and families living in rural West Fresno County who do not have the financial means to celebrate Christmas in the traditional gift-giving way. The Amor team begins contacting companies in October to identify how many families can be adopted each year. Thanks to our corporate donors, we are adopting 13 families this year. Amor selects families with the greatest needs who have either been identified by one of our many community partners at the Amor Wellness Center or through the 3 school districts that we partner with throughout the year. Amor staff then speak directly with each family to understand their specific needs for the household members, creating a wish list that is shared with the adopting company before Black Friday. Corporations choose how they want to fill those wish lists, whether through team assignments, friendly department competitions, or pool donations. No matter their choice, it always seems to work great. The heart of the program comes on delivery day, when company staff load up the gifts and drive to their adopted family's home. Amor staff join them as the gifts are brought inside, often to homes where there may not have been a tree or presents before. The squeals of childhood delight and the tears of gratitude from parents as their living rooms fill up with presents are moments that are truly unforgettable. Families often share that this is the first time that they have ever been able to have their Christmas tree full with so many gifts. Amor and the families touched by your generosity are grateful to the many companies that have adopted families over the past 8 years. If your company is interested in participating next year, we would love to hear from you. Happy holidays to you and yours from the Amor team.
Okay, that was Davina Witcher, Executive Director of Amor, which is Alliance for Medical Outreach and Relief across the world, including our own backyard community and city of Mendota. Naomi Popoff is with us. I want to bring Bill McEwen on as well. We can probably take that adopt a family sign off or slide off. Bill, actually, Naomi, let you. Was this your first year
This was
volunteering?
my first year.
Okay,
Yeah.
quickly tell us why you did it and what you got out of it and what your experience was in maybe a minute or less.
In a minute or less. Well, why I did it is because I was asked to do it, being one of the newer employees to
Oh,
Granville,
so you didn't volunteer. You didn't really want to do it. You said, I have to
which
do
is
it.
not true. And they asked me if I would like to do it, and I said absolutely. And I ran with it. I created teams out of the employees. We had 7 family members, mom, dad, 5 children. The smallest two were two twin girls. And our team leaders, I picked them and asked them to just help out. They motivated everybody. It was incredible the amount of items that we received. Granville has donated generously beds for the children, and the employees bought a wealth of gifts, which we wrapped today at a wrap party. And Granville provided us pizza lunch, and we donated our lunch time and got it done in an hour. It's going to take about 2 to 3 truckloads to get over there tomorrow to deliver this. But some of the items um, that the employees bought, we bought a vanity. Mom got her blender. She got mixing bowls. Dad got his Laredo boots, some cologne. This is just a small amount. Mattress pads, bedding, duvets, pillows. The children got coloring books, Amazon Fire tablets, a camera. So exciting. I feel so overjoyed and overwhelmed to be a part of such an amazing team. The employees are definitely the heartbeat of Granville, and they were just so excited to give. And they just kept shopping. They kept ordering things off Amazon going last night. And we also got snacks for the children to snack during the holidays and some gift cards. So
Okay,
it's just going to be really awesome.
nice going. Quickly, how were these families selected, or were you part of that process, or was that?
I was not a part of that
Got it.
process,
Okay.
but I do believe that Amor selected them based off of some criteria.
Okay.
This particular
Income.
family, Darius, is a family that has a lot of hardships and struggles during the holidays because during the winter months there's not a lot of work in the fields. So I truly believe that this is going to be life-changing moment for them, and I'm super excited about tomorrow and to be a part of this. So Granville, you, the employees,
No,
it's a great place to work.
thank you, Naomi. And you and a few other folks are gonna go actually deliver these gifts for these 7 families in the Mendota or the rural areas. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're going to head out to Mendota and we're going to meet this family tomorrow. And it's a family of 7. I just hope I don't cry. I don't cry very often, but I think I'm going to be overwhelmed with joy. This is just a great opportunity. So, no, I didn't volunteer, but I'm glad that I was asked if I wanted to because it's been a great fun. But I couldn't have done it without the employees. They're amazing. And we had so much fun today wrapping the gifts. We took pictures and we laughed and scotch taped all kinds of goodies up.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you, Naomi. Let's go back to some of the more pertinent. I don't want to say pertinent. Some of the other news, some which is not so good. Rob Reiner passed away. Can we say allegedly killed? I think this is one of Bill's stories. Bill, you want to take this away? Great producer in Hollywood. A lot of fantastic stuff he's done it over the decades. Shaped California politics more than just a Hollywood legend. Bill, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so Rob Reiner's son, Nick, he's 32 years old. He's arrested. Initial report said $4 million bail. Actually, he's being held without bail in Los Angeles County, and for the murders of Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. And most people know him for Hollywood, for movies like A Few Good Men, and also when Harry met what is it
Sally.
when Sally met somebody, and so he did rom-coms, he did serious movies and the like. Of course, the cult classic, his first film was This Is Spinal Tap. And in addition, he first was introduced to a national audience, I guess, with All in the Family, the cutting edge comedy on CBS. And great career, and has many friends on both sides of the aisle in Hollywood. Even Republicans there talk about his generosity and how many times he gave people a second chance, talk about his compassion. The other thing, though, is he was a big political player in the state of California. We have the first 5 commissions in counties throughout the state of California. That's thanks to Rob. He carried
Wow.
Proposition 10. It was a tobacco tax. And so taxes paid on each, tobacco product that's sold in the state of California. And that funding goes for the development, early childhood development up to the age of 5 years old. In addition, he was right at the front of the fight to overturn Proposition 8. Of course, he campaigned against Proposition 8. That was California's gay marriage ban. And that ultimately went to the Supreme Court where it was overturned. And he and his wife, Michelle, were big donors to Democratic candidates and causes through the years. According to Cal Matters, the tally was about $2.7 million. And then finally, President Trump used Rob Reiner's death as an opportunity to mock him and to trash him. Of course, progressives have been highly critical of this, but there have been a few Republican voices as well coming out and saying this was totally inappropriate. And those include Representative Massey, he's in the House of Representatives from Kentucky, and of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is leaving the party basically in a dispute and leaving the House of Representatives, not leaving the party. She's leaving the House of Representatives over a dispute with President Trump in his handling of the Epstein files.
And there is a quote from Marjorie Taylor Greene on President Trump's recent statements on the economy. President needs to be aware that he's a billionaire president of the United States. You can't gaslight people and tell them that their bills are affordable. And you can't tell them that their economy is an A+++. You just can't do that. And I think it's insulting to people's intelligence. End quote, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene on the president's comments on the economy. Okay, with that, before we bring Catherine Shahada on in just a few minutes, a couple other items we're going to discuss. Actually, we have a video on Fresno City Council by Fresno City Council President Mike Carbasi. Let's play that brief video.
Good evening, Darius. Happy Tuesday. As the folks know, I'm Mike Carbasi, City Council President, with your unfiltered audience only exclusive City Council update. We have a council meeting this Thursday starting at 9 a.m. We can talk about the agenda. It's pretty packed, but here's the thing. The elephant in the room is SADA. There is a 4:30 p.m. hearing. Again, we moved it to the afternoon so more people can participate. A 4:30 p.m. hearing on the Southeast Development Area. You may have read about it in different publications. You may have heard some very, in my opinion, incendiary quotes about SADA. But here's the reality. The council is not, I want to reiterate, not on a blanket level approving the Southeast Development Area on Thursday. That is not happening. That was never on the agenda. But unfortunately, some groups have resorted to fear mongering to get people to show up. And I think that's very irresponsible. Let me tell you what we are potentially doing. We're going to have a hearing. We're going to hear items. We're going to hear a presentation from staff. What is being requested is that the mayor has proposed something called South SADA. He's proposed changes to the plan. We would give direction to the administration to go back, do their research, run the financials, and come back with a presentation on a new version that includes what's called South SADA. This is a large parcel. It'll move housing to another area of the plan. This parcel is contiguous with the city, meaning it's adjacent to the city. And what it would do potentially is open up more jobs, potentially good industrial jobs, hopefully some med tech, which would be great. Just good paying jobs so people can afford housing, keeping people in Fresno rather than moving away to other cities, moving to Madera County and taking their tax dollars with them, because that's really what's crippled our city and our growth for a long time and our ability to pay for the bills to subsidize the inner city. Just one thing I want to say, and this is my opinion here. You may have heard some comments from different groups like the Fresno Teachers Association. I have a lot of respect for our educators, and I have a good working relationship with this organization. But I am concerned about the comments. I am concerned about what I believe is they're a little bit misleading, claiming they're going to shut schools down if we approve this plan. 2 months ago, we approved the West Area Plan, opening up a lot of housing and resources and commercial activity for the west side of this city. Very important. And that includes Central Unified. Not a peep out of these groups. Nobody cared about that. So I say trust but verify. There is a lot of politics at play. There is a reason why they don't want us to build in that part of the city. There's politics involved. It's not as it seems. So I just ask folks, take everything with a grain of salt, no matter what you hear. Trust but verify. That's about it. Last meeting of the year. If you want to participate, it'll be on YouTube at 9 a.m. Send your comments to clerk@fresno.gov, and they'll be on the record. And I want to say, for anyone celebrating Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. If anyone's celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas. Have a great time. Kwanzaa's the day after, so we're covering all the holidays on this show. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless you. And Darius, back to you.
Okay, that was Council President Mike Carbazzi. Thank you for that great report, which then brings us to the SADA, Southeast Development Area, hearing that they're going to hear. Let's put that slide 13 on. Bill, there's an article coming out from GVWire. I don't know if it's out yet, about Fresno Unified's comments that if SADA opens up, more area to develop homes, that part of it is in Sangre Unified. I think majority of it is in Sangre Unified. That a bunch of Fresno Unified schools are going to shut down. Any thoughts or any truth to that, Bill?
So I haven't edited the story yet, but it'll be going up shortly. And what it looks to be is that Fresno Unified is now saying that 3 to 5 schools could close because of SADA at build out. And there's a lot of confusion about where this original number of 11 schools closing because of SADA came from. It's like people don't really want to own that it was said. So a lot of finger pointing about that. The other thing, though, is Fresno Unified's enrollment has been in decline for quite a while. And so what I would ask people to ponder, to debate among themselves, to think about is, what's the problem here? SADA might be a symptom of Fresno Unified's failure to produce, a good product. Very low test scores for a long time, and not until recently has there been any real concern about Fresno Unified's inability to match the performance of school districts that are also poor, that also have many disadvantaged families, that also have many students who are learning English. And in fact, when you look at kind of the numbers about what students go to the school districts, Sanger's numbers are very similar to Fresno Unified's, but Sanger Unified's been outperforming Fresno Unified for years, and getting state recognition for the great work that they do. So we have a situation that, since COVID, Fresno Unified students, the parents, the families, increasingly they've been going to online education. They've been going to charter schools. Certainly excellent students love University High School, which is chartered by Fresno Unified. And we've also seen them moving to new developments in Madera Unified. And so the beat goes on, and Fresno Unified's response is to say all our problems are because of urban sprawl and poor planning. And, any rational person knows that isn't the case. So stay tuned to GV Wire. We'll have a story up shortly that kind of takes on some of the claims made in other media. And I would point out those stories, weren't really fact checked. They were just took people at their word. So better off to always read a story that's been fact checked.
You're gonna get the great the latest update. A great story from GB Wire coming up soon, whether it's tonight or in the morning. Stay tuned to that. And hey, my thoughts on Fresno Unified. Basically, I'm going to echo what Bill said. Instead of saying get rid of competition, we don't want to compete. We don't want to open up more areas for families to move to so their kids can go to great schools, great education, great facilities. Instead of saying that, clean up your own act, Fresno Unified. Clean up your own act. Okay, Bill, anything on TJ Cox? Slide 14, yeah.
Yeah, so TJ Cox was facing up to 41 months in prison. That's what prosecutors asked for. And he did a plea deal. He agreed to plead guilty to 2 counts of wire fraud. And with the plea deal, the federal government dropped, I think, more than 20 other counts against him. So he had his day in court in Monday. Mr. Cox has an excellent lawyer in Mark Coleman, and they made the case. They said he should only get probation. They said there weren't really any financial victims. That statement's in dispute because the federal government said there was $3.5 million in losses because of the frauds. So the hearing went on for quite a while. Mr. Cox was quite elegant. He was contrite, but he did kind of insist that he didn't really hurt anybody. And the judge listened, considered it, and when he was done, he gave him a sentence of 1 year, 1 day in prison, and that's going to be over in Lompoc. He also said that perhaps Mr. Cox could get out early and go to a halfway house because TJ has been working with a nonprofit, a community nonprofit, and the people at the nonprofit say he's been doing excellent work for them. He also received, when the prison sentence is done, 2 years of supervised release, and he was ordered to pay $100,000 restitution to the victims of an investment opportunity that he had offered them. So he will do prison time, certainly not as much as the prosecutors asked for. And all I'll say, Darius, is stay tuned on this one. TJ Cox, TJ Cox may be done in regards to this fraud case, but I think when you look at all the tentacles of the whole situation that was involved with this, I would think that the federal government will be pursuing other investigations tied probably tangentially to this, but I guess you would say linked to this, but arising out of this. So we'll see what develops.
So, Bill, you think this is not the end of the story? There's more folks that names could be surfacing that are tied to some of these allegations.
Well,
that
I
TJ
think I'll say this, there's plenty of fodder for the DOJ and for FBI agents to sift through and look at very closely in Fresno. And I wouldn't be surprised if more big names, TJ Cox certainly was a big name, he's a former congressman. If more big names, including some political names, end up in federal hot water.
Wow. Okay, stay tuned, folks. You heard it here on
And
GBY.
Darius,
Yeah,
I'd be
yeah.
remiss if I didn't point out that it was GV Wire that broke the original story on this case, even before the indictment of Mr. Cox was announced.
Got it. Thank you, Bill, for that and the great work of the team. David Tapp was on this, yes?
Yes, he covered the trial, and during the lead up to the trial, there was great work done by Edward Smith, who got the actual copy of the plea agreement. And we were first with that in the market as well.
That's fantastic. Great job, Bill and team. Okay, quickly, 'cause I know Catherine Shahada of If American is New is going to be joining us very, very soon. What is dynamic pricing? Let's quickly cover that. We have a brief video. We may not be able to play all of it, but we broke a story. Well, we had a story from New York Times last week that talked about, what you see is not what you're going to be charged for, potentially. What should consumers be aware of? What should they be looking out for? What are these things? How are these things going to change groceries price or department store pricing? Is what you're going to be charged different based on a few factors at the checkout stand? With all of that, we did a preview. Let's put up Phil Lampert's. Let's put up slide 17. But yeah, there you go. So Phil Lampert, a great supermarket guru, understands all things about human behavior, what motivates us to buy and where and how to grocery stores, which have a very, very thin margin, by the way. Like, what was he telling us? 1.5% margin. How do they survive? So we had a preview with him, which were pre-recorded session with him, which we're going to air at least parts of it right now, and then we're going right into the interview or the debate, I should say, over Gaza and Israel with Catherine Shahada here momentarily. Let's play that brief video.
I would predict that next year, 2026, we're going to see prices go up even more. So we're really, bracing for high food inflation for the coming year as well.
That's because of tariffs. Why do you expect 26 numbers to be higher?
It's a combination of tariffs, yes, higher labor costs, and we've got labor shortages, so retailers have to pay their labor more expensive. We have the ice raids that have taken people off of farms, out of meat packing plants, so there's a labor shortage there as well. And then we also have climate change, one of the biggest factors in food prices. We've seen it with chocolate, with cocoa coming from South Africa. We've seen it from Brazil, with our coffee beans. The weather conditions around the globe are horrible for growing our food. And as a result of that, here in California and the Central Coast, we used to grow a lot of produce. Well, a lot of that has now shifted towards Mexico and Central America and Latin America because the weather here in California has just changed dramatically between floods, between fires, between droughts. My hope is that the ice raids stop. And, the reality is whether it's a poultry worker or a meat cutter, or people working on the farm, we rely on these workers for our food supply. And without them, we just can't supply our food. I talked to some farmers, and they've got foods rotting in the fields because there's nobody to pick them. And not all crops can be mechanically harvested. There's still crops that have to be manually harvested. So, the only solution, to be honest with you, is we stop these ice raids. And to your point, whether people are being deported, self-deporting, or a lot of people just are staying home. They're afraid to go out. The administration really needs to stop this, if in fact we're going to have a stable food supply.
If I'm a consumer, I'm going to whether it's Costco or Target or any grocery store. What are the things I should be concerned about, aware of as I'm checking out?
Well, keep in mind that we just don't know. I mean, all this takes place behind the scenes. Now, one of the things that we're seeing are the electronic shelf labels, those little digital labels that are replacing the paper labels, that are underneath the products. Well, the question is whether or not that retailer can up or lower the price instantly. A lot of the retailers are saying, no, 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 we wouldn't do that. On a hot summer day in Fresno, we're not going to increase the price of ice cream. But once that technology is in there, it's easy enough to do. In fact, there's a retailer in Europe who is changing prices about 100 times a day. Now, that's for everybody. The next iteration, and right now, Microsoft and Kroger are in beta on this, to have those ESLs that can actually do facial recognition, to your point. So if in fact I look a certain way or I'm dressed a certain way, they can deliver either a promotion or a different price to me depending on what I look like.
What are the top three tips you could have for the unfiltered audience on things this shopping season and post Christmas? What are the things they should be aware of as they're shopping online or at a store?
Keep in mind that the past year we've seen higher prices on food than ever before. Since the pandemic, it's up around 26%. So you want to be smart. And the number one thing to stop doing is wasting our food. 40% of all of our food is wasted. So the best way to save money, stop wasting food. Take leftovers, home. Also, always have a shopping list. And I call it the ultimate shopping list, which is basically your cash register receipt. And on that cash register receipt today, it lists the product and the price. So use that as a benchmark. If in fact I'm, going in and buying Kellogg's cornflakes and I bought it, last week, I can see what that price is and if that price is up or down. Also, what you want to do is you want to check out the store circulars. Every retailer now has their store circulars online. So look before you shop. Look before you go out, and also shop around. Go to dollar stores. Dollar stores have great buys on food. Grocery outlet, Aldi. Go to non-traditional grocers, and you might find better prices. And always, and this is a rule of thumb, never go shopping when you're hungry, because if you're hungry, you're going to buy more impulse items.
Okay, there it is. A lot more of that video that we will play other parts of it next Tuesday night. Paul, our producer, if you could please make a note of that. There's a question I asked Phil. If you're at the checkout stand and you're wearing a Louis Vuitton bag or purse, are you going to get charged more? Or if you are buying an airline ticket or online buying whatever online products you buy with a different kind of a phone, do different phones and different platforms get you different pricing? So there's those questions. Stay tuned to those. We'll play those next Tuesday night. Same product, same store, but on Instacart, prices might differ. That's the article that we ran last week. It is on GV Wire. Take a look at it. Okay, so without further delay, let's first of all let's bring on Catherine Shahada of If Americans Knew. Welcome, Catherine,
Hi.
to GVWire Unfiltered. You've been
Thank
on
you.
this show a year ago, is that correct? About
Yeah.
a year and a half ago. So welcome
Yes.
back. Welcome back to our
Thank
show.
you.
I want the audience to know that we invited no less than 5 pastors to join us tonight to talk about the message of Jesus Christ. And if there's anybody out there with connections to a pastor that would be interested in joining us next Tuesday night, please ask them to connect with us with Paul Marshall or Anthony Haddad, our producers and our manager, or with Bill McEwen directly. That they're available to come on the show. We want to hear from our pastors about the message of Jesus Christ. And by the way, the question is, what would Jesus do if he was here today? About all these conflicts around the world, especially the one that's happening in the Holy Land. So let me bring on. Let's put up some of the slides. Slides. We just go through them. 18, 19, so on and so forth. There's a lot of stuff happening in that part of the world. So again, Catherine, kind of tell
Yeah.
us first of all, why should Americans care about that part of the world? Is, I don't know, 8,000 miles, 10,000 miles away. I talk to a lot of my friends and colleagues, and I say, hey, do you know what's happening in that part of the world? In Gaza, bombings, starvation, lack of water, food, electricity, forget internet. I mean, I sometimes think if you're a cancer patient, or if you had a massive infection in your foot, in your ear, in your mouth, and you were relying on whatever limited medical care was available in Gaza before October 7th, right now, I mean, there is none. You probably die. If you had an infection, you're probably dead. You had cancer, you need treatment, you're dead. Your dog had an ailment, dead. You're diabetic, no more insulin, no more Ozempic, none of those, if you even had access to it before. So all the folks that had ailments that needed some kind of a medication, those folks are dead. And so I sometimes ask my some of my friends and colleagues, do you care about that part of the world? And they go, why should we care? Why should we care? Yes, they're human beings, but there's so much conflict all over the world. It's too complicated. Everybody says this is a really complicated issue. Israel, Palestine. First of all, there is no country of Palestine today. I don't think it's an established country in the United Nations. So, and there's like 5.5 million of them. Can why can't 2.5 million of them just say, hey, just get up and go? We're gonna bomb the crap out of your area that you used to live in, and just pack your bags and whatever bags you have, if you have any bags left. Probably don't have any bags left. Just go to another country, Africa, Sudan, and just go. So a question for you, Catherine. Why should Americans care about what happens in that part of the world? They have their own issues. I go home, I got to take care of family, job, my own health care, entertainment, making sure I'm making my mortgage payment, my car payment, all my other issues. Why should I care about that part of the world?
Yeah, that's a fair question, and I could go all day answering that, but let's start with the fact that our taxpayer dollars as Americans are being spent keeping up this apartheid regime in Israel, paying for the military expenses of this war. A lot of people are calling it a genocide, and rightly so. And the word apartheid is not being used loosely. This is something that has been determined by human rights organizations. So our money is being used to commit apartheid, to commit genocide, and against women and children primarily, elderly people. It's not just members of Hamas that are being killed. Right now, it's everybody, and something like 60 to 75% women and children. This is not something that we should be helping to pay for, at the very least. And in addition to that, I mean, just the fact that a genocide is happening during our lifetime, on our watch, when we can literally watch it on our phones, a live streamed genocide, there's no excuse for letting that happen, when all we need to do is we could make a few phone calls, we could share information, we could learn a little bit more, and then we could be a part of making things better instead of paying to make things horrific and unlivable for a group of people.
Well, if any, for the audience that has watched or watched any of Tucker Carlson's podcast, he talks about really U.S. government control by some of the Israeli lobbyists. Marjorie Taylor Greene has talked about that. Tucker Carlson talks about that frequently.
Yeah.
That if you have a large budget and some of the foreign lobbyists, Israeli lobbyists potentially, or mainly according to Tucker, they really put a lot of pressure on members of Congress to make sure there's enough money allocated and spent, and not really some of the Israeli government actions should not be questioned.
Yeah, the lobby is so strong, and it has been strong for decades now. But there's starting to be chinks in the armor, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and like Tucker Carlson and other conservatives who are starting to say, "Hey, we don't want to be paying for all of this. We don't want to be paying for any country's war expenses except our own." Which is a whole nother subject. But the lobby has been working behind the scenes for many years, but some of these folks are now starting to bring it out into the open. And I think Americans are starting to realize more and more every day that the Israel lobby first of all, does not have American interests at heart. And second of all, it really should be registered as a foreign agent, because its entire purpose is to support Israel and to support its war efforts. So that's starting to shift. But there's also, Israel is not stupid. They have been watching these changes, and they've been watching the whole shift in the perception of their country, and have recently budgeted hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into propaganda. This is the Israeli government that is investing hundreds of millions of dollars in propaganda that is trying to put a shine on this country that is committing genocide and has lost a lot of its popularity and support. Trying to make it look good.
Especially amongst the young Americans.
Yes.
I mean, a recent election in New York City, Mayor Mamdani, a socialist Democrat, according to some of the reports that I've read, overwhelming majority of young Jews in New York City voted for him, actually, because,
Yes.
by the way, this is not a religious issue. I have a lot of Jewish friends. I mean, and there's a Jewish organization, Code Pink. I don't know if it's a Jewish organization, but
Pink, yeah.
Code Pink, a lot of mainly Jewish American women that that talk and are inside the halls of Congress, and asking members of Congress, are you America first or Israel first? Because we
Mhm.
have veterans that are sick in our country, veterans that are can't get access to health care. We have infrastructure issues, education issues, healthcare for Americans issues. Why we have lots of shortfalls here. Don't ship any more money overseas, including fights, wars that create genocide. Um, what?
Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot,
go ahead.
go ahead. I was
Well,
going to say a lot of young American Jews have been raised to revere what happened in the Holocaust and to take it very seriously. And they've been taught from a young age, never again, this is a terrible thing. And they're looking at what's happening in Gaza and saying, this is kind of like what happened to our people, and we should not let it happen. So they took the message of the Holocaust and Holocaust education, and they're applying it to Gaza. But the Zionists, they only want it to be applied when
let,
there are Jewish people involved. So thus the huge amounts of money being spent in propaganda, especially targeting young people and especially targeting Christians.
let me ask you, talking about Christians, what do you think? What would Jesus do if he was here? I'm trying to to ask this question of a pastor, and I can't get. We've invited 5 pastors, unfortunately, uh, or representatives of churches. Unfortunately, none of them were able or available to come tonight. I'm hoping we can get one of them on next Tuesday night. What do you think Jesus would say or do if he was here today?
Oh man. I'm not a pastor, but I was raised a Christian from the cradle right on up and went to Christian schools all my life and everything. So I think I would qualify to answer that question. And I was raised evangelical in a conservative denomination. So I think I can safely say, though, that what some Christians say Jesus would do is not what the Bible says Jesus would do about this. Jesus wanted us to care about the poor, feed the poor, clothe the naked, take care of the imprisoned, all of those things. We all know that. All Christians know those words, but somehow we don't like to apply them to certain kinds of people. And the people of Gaza and all of Palestine are one example of that. And that's, I mean, that has a lot to do with Christian Zionism, which has this belief that is not rooted in scripture, that Jesus is going to return to the Holy Land and all of the Jewish people need to be collected there. And so if we want Christ to come back, we have to get the Palestinians out of there and make room for all the Jews to come, and those kinds of things, which just do not uh, mesh with the main message of Scripture. So things like genocide, there's no way that Jesus would support genocide. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And all those other things.
Okay. Any final message to our viewers? What should they do? If somebody goes, "Hey, I'm again here," you've kind of given me a few reasons because my taxpayer dollars are going to support or prosecute this war over there. Uh, 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 what can I do? What is your message to the audience?
I mean, the first thing that we all need to do is um, we need to get informed about what's really happening. And I've talked to so many people who've said, well, how can I be sure what's true and what's not true? Because there's so much misinformation and everybody's saying, well, that's not true, that's not true. There is a way to get the facts about what's happening in Israel and Palestine, and that is by, and this is going to sound like a commercial, uh, but this is what we do. That if Americans knew, we share information that is accurate and documented and factual. We don't share opinions and conspiracy theories as though they're facts. We share facts. And every day for the last, I don't know, going on 800 days, I've been writing an update on what's happening in Gaza. And I have relatives living in Gaza who I talk to every day. And we know what's actually happening there. And we know when we see propaganda that it's not true, and we debunk it. So on our website, israelpalestinenews.org, israelpalestinenews.org, we share actual information. And I would challenge anyone to read our daily updates and some other articles that we post. Read them for 1 week and see if you don't care enough about what's happening there to do something about it, to contact your Congress members, to go to protests. There are things that we can do if we care enough. But as you said in your experience, it's been my experience too. So few people care, or so few people trust that there is a place where they can get accurate information. So I would say start with getting informed, and we can take it from there.
Got it. Thank you so much. There's so much to cover on that. And on your social media, if Americans knew, there was a post a couple of days ago, flooding in parts of Gaza with a big storm, tents that some of these people are living in, getting torn apart. I mean, that's these are children of the same God. They just, unfortunately, their sin is that they were born in that part of the world.
That's
Go
it.
ahead, Catherine.
It's not just a few tents that are being washed away. Most of the population of Gaza lives in tents that they have been living in for over 2 years. They've been displaced, many of them, for over 2 years now, living in tents or under tarps, and everything is wearing out. And the winter storms have been so violent this year. They've just been ripping tents up and blowing them away. And just our family has been living in what's left of their house. It's completely full of shrapnel holes, and I mean, it's an asbestos house too. So there's all kinds of problems that they're dealing with. But there's been rain coming into their house. It's flooding in through the front door. I don't know if they even have a door on anymore, but everything is soaked. Everything is soaked. So they can't sleep at night because the blankets are wet and cold. And it just, the rain keeps coming back. There's no opportunity to get things dry and to get warm. They're just freezing cold all the time. And this is hundreds of thousands of people. And there are new tents and trailers and tarps waiting just outside the borders of Gaza, but Israel will not allow them to come in to enable the people to be dry and warm. Babies have been dying of hypothermia. 2-week-old baby died yesterday.
Government of Israel there's tents.
Yes.
New tents is not allowing tents to go into, so that they're, it's
That's
kind of
right.
a form of torture.
That's right. It is. It is. It's a war crime. And so every day I report on this at, if Americans do, israelpalestinenews.org. Every day I report on this. If you read it for a week, you will know all of these things. That you will know that Israel promised to bring 600 truckloads of humanitarian aid into Gaza every single day of the ceasefire, which is over 2 months now of ceasefire. They have not brought more than about a quarter of what they promised. They promised it to people who have been starving for 2 years. and they are not doing it. They said they would bring in tents and tarps and shelter supplies and medicine and anesthesia and all kinds of medical basics, and they're refusing to let it in. So this is something that every American should know about, right? They should know about this, and I can't imagine that they wouldn't care at least a little bit
Well,
if they knew.
yeah, we would. I mean, we liberated people from concentration camps in World War II, and we
Mhm.
liberated Europe from in World War One.
Mhm.
And so we used
And
to be
we,
liberate, but now when you're saying that there's clean tents and materials that can save lives of children, women, men, civilians, but Israel is not allowing those to be taken into Gaza, which means now we're gonna suffer and torture these folks to death.
the
Wow.
the winter hasn't even started yet, and people are freezing to death. It's just absurd and unnecessary, and it's,
I,
again, it's on our dime. We are paying for it.
I really sincerely hope that this is just an oversight and it's an error, and people high up in the Israeli government don't know about it. Somebody at the border is going, you know what, let's
No,
just not let these in.
no,
You think?
no. It is Israeli policy. It comes from the Prime Minister Netanyahu. This is something that everyone knows is happening, and they're making sure it happens. And it's been happening for over 2 years. They've kept food out for months, like all food out of Gaza for months on end. They've destroyed all the croplands. They've destroyed all the trees. They won't even let seeds come into Gaza that they could use to grow food.
Wow.
This is on purpose. I mean, when you're committing a genocide, you want to do these things. You do these things on purpose. And it is genocide, according to experts and according to human rights organizations. It is a genocide. So this isn't an accident. It's not a temporary oversight. This is a real thing happening on purpose.
We're going to leave it there. There's so much to cover. Uh,
Yeah.
and again, we have your website, Israel Palestine News, on the screen. Let's put the other website up as well. If Americans knew, there you go. Those are the two websites. A lot of information about that part of the world for those of you that are interested. And we're going to wrap up. I'm going to come back to you, Catherine, for your less than 1 minute closing comments. But a couple other things we're going to cover. 21st of this month is the longest night of the year, the winter solstice, and also there's a Persian celebration, Night of Yalda, that is destined for that evening. And of course, happy Hanukkah to all my Jewish friends, both here and across the world. And Merry Christmas to all of you. Bill, let me bring Bill McEwen up, back up as well. Bill, closing comments.
Just one clarification. It was President Ford who was the last president to testify before Congress. I wasn't clear on that earlier, and that was in 1983. I just want to thank Catherine for coming on, making the case so well, and also imparting such important information to all the viewers. And then also, Darius, a thank you for a great show, great segment about the variable pricing and the technology that's involved. And again, how fast our world is changing, especially with AI. And thank you to Paul and Eric, everybody involved in producing Unfiltered. And happy holidays to all of Fresno. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Bill. Catherine, final comments.
Yeah, thank you. We need to always make a distinction between the Jewish people and the people of Israel. Now, 80% of Israelis are Jewish. 20% of them are Palestinians, which not a lot of people know, but there are Israelis who support Palestinian rights, and there are Jews all over the world that support Palestinian rights. There are Jews and non-Jews who only support the empire of Israel, and they are the ones that are making this horrific genocide happen. So our target needs to be people who support Israel, not Jews. And you know, the horrible thing that happened at Bondi Beach in Australia over the weekend, that was an act of anti-Semitism, but it was not an act that requires us to punish Palestinians. There are people who are angry at all Jews for what the Jewish state is doing in Gaza, but all Jews are not guilty of that. We just need to make that distinction. And I also wish Happy Hanukkah to my Jewish friends and Merry Christmas to my Christian friends.
Awesome. Thank you, Catherine. Those are really great comments by Bill and Catherine. Great closing comments. And I'm going to echo what both of you said. There's evil in this world, and it sometimes hides under a cloak of different religious organizations. This has nothing to do with religion. The message of God is peace, love, take care of one another, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, or Islam. I want to be very clear about that. And obviously, as a Muslim immigrant, I know Islam more than I know Christianity or Judaism. I've attended many churches, Sunday sermons, and I have obviously many, many, many Christian, very close Christian and Armenian friends and colleagues, and Muslim and Jewish friends and colleagues. Some of my closest friends are Jewish Americans and Jewish Iranians that I grew up with. This has nothing to do with religion, just like ISIS had really nothing to do with Islam. They called themselves the Islamic whatever state of, I can't remember what that name was. There are a lot of bad things happen under the name of Islam, which has nothing to do with the religion. It's a group of thugs doing bad things to people, to civilians and innocent folks around the world. And this has nothing to do with Judaism. It's a political movement by one country against property around it. And I have many Jewish friends here in our own backyard in Fresno that do not oppose this activity by what Israel is doing. Matter of fact, they tell me, 5 days before October 7th, 2023, we were thinking of how do we get rid of the prime minister because he's done so many crappy things and trying to clamp down on democracy and control the Supreme Court in Israel. But they are very sympathetic to what's happening in that part of the world, to Palestinians in Gaza. And they go, hey, this happened to us by the Nazis. We cannot let this happen to other people. So this is not, again, a religious thing. It's really a human rights and human justice for all. That's really the basis of our country, our values of our country, our Constitution, I should say. And I know President Trump wants to, deep inside, he knows this is not correct. He knows that. He said it many times. I feel really, really terrible for what's happening. It's awful. And I want to bring an end to this thing. And his son and the envoy to that part of the world, he said, you guys got to go, not his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, go out there and fix this. Bring some kind of a resolution so that we don't have to, be supporting government that is killing innocent folks. And I know the president wants to see that end in a peaceful way. There's lots of political forces in play in Washington, D.C., and Palestinians do not have a lobby group. Or if they did, whether it's the Saudis or the Kuwaitis or whoever it is, they don't care about this issue enough. That's really what it comes down to. So those folks are going to suffer, but those folks are children of the same God that we are. With that, I hope to see all of you next Tuesday night. I will have a brief Christmas special for you right before our Christmas Eve holiday that's coming up next week. On behalf of all of us at GV Wire Unfiltered, thank you. Thank you, Bill. Catherine, thank you for joining us and sharing those thoughts and putting up your website information, which we have. And we hope to see all of you next week. Slight chance of rain this weekend. So stay dry. Take care, everybody.